Hey, what's going on, guys? We have a update on a bunch of things going on within the team and the YouTube, and I just kind of wanted to go over a bunch of them with High Seas coming out. So first thing first, we do intend on finishing the Riptide Basic series. The problem that we're having is that there's a lot of concepts that really change, like the deck building fundamentals and sideboarding fundamentals could dramatically change with the inclusion of High Seas. And if we're being honest, we're probably not getting another set for 2 years. That seems like the standard. And whenever there's new cards implemented, it usually doesn't change much. But whenever there's a new set, it can have a chance, especially after 2 years, to dramatically change how the class works. For example, Trench and just New Horizons dramatically changing things. So we could easily get something that changes everything, and we wanted to keep it as up to date as possible before that happens. So we're going to wait until after High Seas is fully spoiled to start development on that. Ranger Explained is going to continue as a series just completely designed to just talk about the most random details that you may not understand fully or that has a lot of like nuance to it. So for example, the tar pit, that just helps us to talk about these things that people have questions about all the time. And it's going to be utilized more in the here's some things that you may not know, or expanding on certain concepts that we didn't really want to do a whole video on early on. A lot of these are going to be short, so they're going to be like 2 to 3 minutes. Tar Pit unfortunately has a lot of information, so that's why it ended up being pretty long. You're going to see us stream a little bit more, primarily me, and I'm going to do a lot more, probably CC, but I do like doing these little fun janky builds, and I think a lot of people enjoy that. And we had a lot of fun on the Meme Tide stream, so I'm thinking of going a little bit more in tune with that and trying to do not just Riptide, but just cool stuff, but also at the same time doing some testing still, because I know a lot of people like to see how you navigate certain matchups, because this hero just has massive amounts of like checking your knowledge and understanding on approach to each individual matchup. So I know that having some information there in the form of being able to like ask questions live setting wise would probably do a lot. So I want to go more into that. With the new heroes coming out, we do want to expand past Riptide. Yeah, shocker, I know, right? I didn't really want to do Azalea or Lexi because Lexi's not, legal in CC, and Azalea is very close to LLing, and I don't really know much about her. And there's already people that are like a part of that community, so I'm not really going to get too deep into her. But Marlin or Marilyn, however you want to say it, is definitely something that's on our radar that we're going to get into. It's a ranger though, so it makes sense. But we're also looking into Gravy and seeing the going into that. However, I don't want to do a series on them until we like actually know what's going on with those heroes, because I want to give you guys good information, accurate, good, and like the most experience possible jam packed into an episode. So if we can get to that point, I would like to do basics on them. One of the things that I did get requests for a lot is specific matchups, or at least like class matchups for more so Riptide. Those are really hard to do because not only is that information change constantly, so it wouldn't be a part of the basic series, but also it's hard to generalize, and we would have to update it a bunch. So we wanted to also, after High Seas, we wanted to just like figure out how we can do that, keep it as up to date as possible, but also at the same time have as much relevant information. It's probably not going to end up being hero. It's probably going to be more class specific matchups, and less so like specific sideboarding, but general theory behind sideboarding. So that's the hope, and we're workshopping that a lot. Let me know what other things you guys want to see, and we can start at least putting it on the docket to try to figure out how to do it. But yeah, just drop a comment, let me know. Alright guys, moving on to the newest and biggest update. We have a Patreon. Now I know not a huge channel yet, but we wanted to put this on to do a cool side project and provide some interesting things that may help other people, or otherwise help you support us if you really want to. Now, I want to make it very clear, this is not a information-based Patreon. We as a team do not believe in locking paywall or whatever term you want to use, deck lists behind money or monetary wise. We want it to be free to everyone. We want everyone, Rangers, Riptide players, or players in general, to always be able to uplift themselves and gain this knowledge and improve as players for free. If it is released to the public, it is, or if it's released at all, it's always released to the public, to everyone for free, whether it's through Riptide Discord, the Purple Discord, or the YouTube. So anything on this Patreon is not going to be stuff that you're just only accessible to you. It is always going to be just early access. And by early access, I mean our lists that we're just randomly trying out. And if you look at my February, it is pages of just random versions and stuff. Hell, you probably have seen my list before where I put version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it just continues to go up in number. It's just because we change stuff frequently, and when we're going through seasons, we don't want information to get super out there so that people don't know how to counter it immediately, especially leading up to like Pro Tour. It's just going to be small tidbits of information that you really only have a little bit early. So that is not what this Patreon is for. I want to make that abundantly clear. That is against our philosophy as a team. However, there's some really cool things. First little note, here is the Riptide Discord link. It will be on the Patreon. It is an always active link. I'm putting it here because I really don't want to deal with bots, because if we put it on YouTube, bots can happen, and I just don't want to deal with that. So it's right there. Go for it. Just join us and join in the conversation. The things that we have going on are going to be like the server. There's a custom playmat, which I'll get into later. Like I said, the testing stuff, and then like the super refined sideboards. I have Talishar sleeves coming, but those are however long it takes for him to implement it on the server. So it's in progress. I sent it to him, however long that takes. That'll be included. And here is actually where all the funds go. Now, the Riptide Community Discord will receive 15% of anything that we make off of this, just to do events, giveaways, upgrades to the servers, whatever Talon thinks works well or that we think it would be fun and interesting. So that's automatically going, every single bit of the money, 15% goes to that. There's an artwork fund, again, we'll get into later. And then, you know, obviously the Patreon fees, and then the team fund, that is basically going to be used to, you know, pay for things like thumbnails, YouTube stuff, pay for supporting the team, using some of it to give money to people that have helped us out for free at this point, to just, like, you know, give back a little bit. But that's the team fund. That is what that's used. I believe in complete clarity. That is exactly where all that stuff is going. Now, moving on to the really cool things. Now, what I wanted to do is I want to do some interesting artwork for playmats, but I wanted to make it easy for people to get without me also leaving myself liable for LSS, because that's a cluster of nightmares. So here's the first mat that we have already done. Now, this was voted on the Riptide Discord. I let it just completely up to them. They're like, all right, waifu Riptide. All right, cool, let's go. How do you want it? Commit to the disgusting. Alrighty, it is Riptide but girl but badass, and this was the result. So we kept all the disgusting nature of Riptide with a bunch of references. So like you have the Fletches right here, you know, barbed. Here's the New Horizons chick. She's wearing trench, Mage Master boots, Damien. Talons right here, is the little claw stuck in there. The traps, obviously. Here's the towel. I hope that you understand who that's referring to. And yeah, we even had the artist sign it. And this was just a really cool project that we had going on. So by subbing to the Patreon, you'll just always have access to current, past, future, so on. And you get to vote on all the new stuff that whenever we hit a threshold of the artwork fund, that we'll do new ones and just add to this constantly. So every month that fund goes in there, and then whenever we hit the threshold, I'll start a new one, and then everyone will vote on it, and we'll do something else. I don't know. Maybe next time we'll do the gravy, and the minions will be like, I don't know, piles of mashed potatoes. If that's what you guys want, go for it. And we'll do that, and it'll be accessible. The lurker tier adds more to this, as well as some other things, but we'll get into that later. These people will have and there's only 4 now, will have the ability to be included in the next mat through some Easter egg or not. Just kind of like the Mage Master Boots and Talons, stuff like that. So that's one really cool thing that I wanted to include if you wanted to give a little bit more to support. But the big thing about this tier is, including everything before, is submitting a Riptide gameplay per month. And what we'll do is we'll go over Live React, at least me, and tell you lines that I think each play that you should have done that maybe I think would have been better, or if I thought that line was perfectly fine, alternative lines, and just like give you full feedback on the plays to help improve your performance. Maybe it's lines you didn't see before. I can look at your list and then say, hey, these are little tweaks. Granted, the list thing, we do that in the Discord anyways, but that is all included in the Patreon. All these cool things wrapped together and just kind of give back and provide you all these cool things, but does not paywall anything, which is what we really, really wanted to do. Now, the things that are in progress right now for this are obviously the Talishard sleeves, but we also want to do an end screen for YouTube, and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be like a bounty for like Riptide's ledger, because he's like a bounty hunter, and it's going to have people's names on there. I'm going to let them be very creative. Every Patreon, you can have like a cool name attached to it, whether you want your name with a nickname or something like that, but you'll see them and they're really cool, and we'll put like a little bounty there, and it'll be on the end screen, and it'll be really, really just thematic and cool as just an extra small thing. I'm always looking to add more to this, even just the most minor of things. I want to add value to this. I want you guys to feel like that you supporting us is amazing. This insane thing that gets you so much value, even though it's supporting all the community members also that have contributed to these. So I hope that this is something that you guys see as really interesting, and if there's any improvements you can see on it, I would love to hear it. But again, join the Riptide Discord if you haven't already. It's really fun. It's really cool. We talk about stuff all the time. It's not just memes and shit posting. That's only about 40% of the time. The rest of the time we're actually talking about cool stuff. Appreciate joining us. Appreciate listening through on all these updates that we have going on. And yeah, I hope for more cool content. And I can't wait to see what our next mat's going to be, whether it's gravy or not.